Today may be an epic video day today. I'm not sure. It's real icy again today. And the crows are out. It's end of days. The news has been hilarious on this issue with the weather. That is, it's mass hysteria by the news media. This morning, the big news was they're doing rolling blackouts all over Texas because even down to Brownsville, which is the bottom of Texas, is 33 degrees. So Texas is just cold. And a lot of people around here we have gas, so we have gas heat. But a lot of houses have electric heat. So it's putting a strain on the grid, and they're doing rolling blackouts. So that's the big news, is the power could go off at any time. And it's supposed to be out for 15 minutes, although people have been calling in saying there's been out for over an hour. And there's no power lines down because of the ice, because it was so windy that it's not really on the trees or power lines. So that's thankfully a non-issue. But the roads are real slick, so we're staying in again today. But yesterday the news was hilarious. I did watch I guess it was like the 5 o'clock news. They were talking about that people are having cabin fever. And I laughed because it's been like, yesterday it was like 12 hours. Really? You get cabin fever after 12 hours? Yeah. Seriously? I guess if you're always going out and about, that you might get cabin fever after 12 hours. I'm a homebody. Last year I didn't leave the house at all for 4 days, and I was fine with that. And the only reason I left the house then is because I needed food. I guess I'm just a homebody. I don't get the whole cabin fever thing. Maybe I do. I made this little thing today. Well, I didn't make the clock, but I bought this little clock. It's orange, too cute. But I put one of my photographs in there. I thought that was. I actually bought a couple of these little clocks to put maybe in some artwork. I know I'm just all about the artwork these days, but so then, I don't know. It's keeping me busy and out of trouble so that I don't get cabin fever. I kind of have a new subscriber. I subscribe to him, and I'm hoping that, I don't offend him, because I think when he makes his videos, he makes them at night before he goes to bed, so he's in his pajamas. They look like pajama tops. If they're not, I'm sorry, but they look like pajama tops. I actually don't own pajamas. I sleep in t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that, so I don't really own pajamas. I noticed that, he has several pair of pajamas. And even, I guess, when I did own pajamas, I may have just owned one pair, or maybe two. Yeah, I didn't have an abundance of pajamas. And the reason I bring it up, really, well, because of videos, but I've always sort of been frustrated with the show Medium. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it. It just got canceled, and they had their last show last week or something. And it wasn't a bad show. It had a good family dynamic and yada yada blah. But the thing is this woman, Patricia Arquette, she would dream things that, she was a medium, and her thing was dreaming them. So there's a lot of scenes in the show of her in bed and suddenly waking up after having this dream. And what I noticed early on in the series was that she never wore the same pajama top, or I guess the same pajamas 2 nights in a row. So, it's an hour show, and they would show her in bed at least 4 times. So she had 4 different pair of pajamas. And if you watch the season and pay any attention to it, I started noticing that I never saw the same pajama week after week. Yeah, I'm not stupid. I know it's a TV show, obviously, but it's just little things like that drive me nuts. If they're trying to portray it as, this kind of realistic, at least family dynamic, and realistic family. For this woman they live in there's a small 3-bedroom house, and the house, for a TV show, it's a very, very modest house, and it's I think the family part of the show was really good, the family dynamic and all that. And they were, of average income. But for her, for the amount of pajamas that she had, she would have to have a closet the size of her house to accommodate hundreds of pajamas. Seriously, what is wrong with her wearing the same pair a couple weeks later? But I started taking little mental notes. Yeah, I know I don't have enough going on in my life that I need to take mental notes of what people are wearing on TV. That's what I do. I really probably should get out of the house a little more. Is that cabin fever? It might be. I just wanted to do a little response to Illuminata yesterday. She made a video talking about sniglets. I loved sniglets. I think it originated on the show, not necessarily the news. It was an HBO show. Did a spoof on topical things. I enjoyed it very much. But yes, sniglets. I loved sniglets. I think my favorite one was Ella acceleration. Was the misconception that the faster you push the elevator button, the faster the elevator will come, is one. And perpetration. I still use perpetration, and that is when you're like at the grocery store and you pick up an item and then maybe, 3 aisles over you decide you don't want it. So instead of walking back and putting it where it belonged, you just stick it in the shelf. That's called perpetration. Perpetration. I haven't made up any sniglets, although I did alter, I guess, the definition of invitation, which I think is a Seinfeld thing. Their definition was an invitation is inviting you to something that they know you can't come to. I think an invitation for me, and how I use it, is the vague invitation of, you should come skiing with us sometime to our ski house. Really? And then they never follow up with a date. Years ago, my dad bought a house out in Ruidoso, and they used to say, "Oh, you should come to Ruidoso. It's lovely. It's a great time. Blah blah blah." But we never got the solid invite. It's the "you should come sometime." I'm like, yeah, just let me know. I'm flexible. But that doesn't work. That's doesn't help the invitation at all, because they never follow back up. So if someone says you should come, here sometime, and then they never come back and say, hey, remember a couple months ago when we talked about you coming? Let's pick a date. They really don't want you to come. Just so you know, they don't. If there's no follow-up, don't try to follow up yourself, because they really don't want you. They'll come up with something. Oh, that's not a good week for me. That's not a good week. Okay, I'm going to go to work here in the studio.